Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is A-Kind Media. We are your hosts. My name is Ocean Subiano.
I'm Taylor Vieira.
And on today's episode, we are going to be bringing you guys our breakdown/reaction to episode 5 of Amazon Prime's original TV show, Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. This episode aired yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. I don't know what day it is, my bad. But it aired yesterday, the 23rd. And we are on episode 5 out of 8. So we're in that back half. And we're going to do this in traditional fashion. We're going to talk about it spoiler-free very briefly, give a quick score, and then move on to spoilers. Because there are definitely some things to cover, from this episode. Now, spoiler-free. This one definitely, in my opinion, it picked up a little bit more than last week's episode. Like, it was better than last week's episode. But I'm still waiting. There's still some stuff I'm waiting for. I liked the story development across the board. And there's some very good things that I like. I'm still waiting for some more action.
Next episode.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's what...
No, it is.
I didn't look... So one thing I will say is I do not watch the previews.
Yeah.
I purposely do not watch them.
But I happened to... It just kind of happened to play.
Yeah, because it starts automatically, yeah.
So I saw it while I was jotting, like, my notes.
Yeah, so I purposely do not watch the previews because I hate that. I hate, like, thinking about it for the next week. Like, oh, what does this mean?
Yeah.
So, I guess we are going to get it next episode. But I'm a little bummed that it took 6 episodes for us to get there. But, we'll see what happens and how everything pans out. Maybe it won't be such a big deal. And then there's one other thing that I will talk about in the spoiler section because I can't talk about it without giving any spoilers. And that is another, like, not say bad thing, but just thing I didn't really like. So I'm still 100% in, still really enjoying it. I love a lot of the things that happen in this show, and we finally get to see some new stuff.
Pretty cool stuff that happens in this episode.
Yeah, that I have no idea what the hell that is. So maybe you can enlighten me, or maybe we just both don't know. I don't know, but we'll get to that. So for now, 100% still in. Keep going, riding the wave. Still very, very optimistic, but that's how I feel right now.
Yeah. This episode ramps up a lot. It actually, like, for those of you, if you thought it was too slow before this episode is fast.
Yeah,
boy. Like, it's hella fast. Which I actually don't really like the sudden change. Like, it's a little jarring, but the progression is good, like, ultimately.
Right.
And there's some pretty crazy stuff that happens in this episode. And
some very cringy stuff too.
Yeah, some very stupid stuff. So this episode is kind of like all over the place.
Yeah.
But I still like the show.
Yeah.
I'm excited for next episode. And yeah.
All right. Scores. I'm still at an 8. I was tempted to boot it down to a 7, but I'm gonna stick with an 8, just because there was more story development in this episode than the last few. So
yeah,
I'm gonna stick with an 8.
This one I'm gonna give a 7, mostly for the not really confusion, but just the fact that it was jumping all over the place.
Okay.
Even though I ultimately liked where it led to.
Yeah.
The episode is all over the place.
Okay. All right.
I think just because there's just so much stuff going on.
Yeah, for sure. And all right, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our spoiler-free section. So if you have not seen the episode yet, go check it out first. As always, this is definitely something you should be experiencing for yourself first, and then come join us so we can talk about spoilers, and you can let us know how you felt afterwards. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is your official
spoiler alerts.
All right, So, yeah, as you said, it's really jumpy. It touched on all of the storylines, I believe, like everything. We saw everybody.
A little bit something.
Yeah, from everyone.
A little bit of everything. Yeah, I think got a little bit something.
There's some story development from the elves that I have some questions about, and then there's story development on the Numenor side. There's story development on the Harfoot side.
Yeah, I think it's mostly focused on Numenor.
I don't know. There's a lot of like elvish focus too with the tree and stuff.
With the dwarves too and stuff.
Yeah. So
those are I would say those are the two biggest
for sure
points.
There wasn't a whole lot of Harfoot stuff, but the stuff that did happen in the Harfoot. Okay, so let's start there. Let's start there because I have
start with the Harfoots.
Yeah, I have questions about it. All right, so to give a quick synopsis of what happens with that section, basically, the wizard or whatever dude, he saves some of the Harfoots from some wolves. Does a pretty cool Hulk smash thing. Oh yeah, they're just Middle Earth wolves, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
They look like baby wargs, basically.
Yeah, that's what they look like. It's just baby wargs, which I don't know if that was intentional.
Yeah, maybe they are.
Maybe they're not wolves. It's just confusing because they say wolves, but then like they don't react to it any differently. So it's like, so were they wolves? Or
yeah. So, so he saves them by like smacking the ground with his hand and scaring them off. And then it obviously hurts him. And then he goes and does this like regenerative healing thing with water, and it like freezes his hand. But then Nori, whatever her name is. Nori was there, and she saw him doing it, and he's kind of like in a trance or whatever. And she tries to like, get him to stop because she thinks it's bad or whatever. And then the ice starts going up on her, so she freaks out, and then it ends up.
That was so funny to me, like
why would you?
You're the one who reached out to grab his arm, and now you're like, stop, please. Why did you grab him?
Why are you touching him? And why would you touch the area that is being frozen by ice?
Look
Why not
at this witchcraft and wizardry happening in front of me that I don't understand. Let me touch it. And then freak out and blame him for it happening.
Yeah. So then she kind of gets freaked out, and we end up with this scene where she's obviously a little afraid of him now.
Yeah, her like entire demeanor for him changes because she's scared.
Which is what I was expecting to happen at some point. It was going to happen. And this just, honestly, the things that I saw in this episode that involved this guy just further digresses or further divides my choices of who the heck this guy is. I don't know who he is more now than I did last episode. Like last episode, I was pretty much leaning towards wizard, but now I'm like, I don't know. Especially because we get this dude now, who, I mean, it's probably a 1 minute clip or so of him and some other people that obviously belong to him, whatever this is, and they go to the site of impact where that guy fell, and they're doing some kind of, I don't know, they're
observation.
Whatever. But I have no idea who these people are, and they don't look that friendly. So, like,
they look freaky.
They're kind of scary. And like this chain or the armor or whatever it is that this person is wearing, like, it's kind of scary. Like, kind of doesn't look very yeah. So for me now, like, if I was like a meter and Wizard was on one end and like Sauron was on the other end, like last episode.
I think what you're really more is like good,
just like good or evil, right? So
because
like,
a wizard can be either.
Sure, right? Because Saruman ended up being evil. So
Balrogs are the counter to them. Like like wizards are like the Maiar is what they're called, and the Balrog is a corrupted version of that. Just like an orc is the corrupted version of an elf.
Yeah.
wizard, which they can go either way, but like the Balrog is like the corrupted version of them. Saruman was good, then corrupted, but yeah.
I did not know that. Anyway, I'm like in the middle now.
Now it's like, wait a minute.
And I'm like, hold on. Maybe this guy's been playing us all.
Didn't
You did.
I've been telling you this whole time.
But
I can't tell you who this guy is because, and it's intentional, which is funny because I had heard from somebody. It's like there's so many things in this show that depending on how involved you are with the Lord of the Rings, there's a certain thing to throw you off specifically.
Yeah.
And if you know just the movies, this wizard, the stranger, is what's gonna throw you off.
Right.
And then like Halbrand is like for the people that are like read all the books and are like, who is this guy? Like,
yeah.
So, yeah, I have no idea who this guy is.
I don't either.
I mean, like I said, I've always kind of just assumed the worst and that he's really just an evil character that's like pretending to be good. But at the same time, like, I don't know if it's just because he appears innocent because he's like, this is like a new form. He's learning languages, but he's got all these powers. And like, what I will say is, when he uses that ice thing to regenerate, I don't think Gandalf does that. Like, it shouldn't be Gandalf, but like, if it was going to be, it wouldn't make sense because Gandalf is typically uses fire.
Fire magic, yeah. So I don't know.
But it could be another wizard.
I'm
it's definitely curious.
It's probably the most intriguing thing, to be honest. Now, before I didn't really pay a whole lot of attention to it, but now with what happened in this episode, like my mind is kind of like, oh my god, what is going on here? Like, who is this dude? Who are these white people that are? It seems like they're looking for him, or at least investigating the drop. You know, the crash site. So like, what is this? And
they look like a bunch of cultists.
Yeah, honestly, they do. But yeah, so I don't know. I don't know anything.
They look like I imagine they're elves.
No, they weren't. Because remember, this person may be an elf because we never actually see the full of his ears. But the other two people that were with him, you could see their ears. They were not elves.
Little slave, not really slaves.
Yeah, I mean, they could be some kind of assistant or whatever. Yeah. But it wouldn't really make a whole lot of sense because elves don't traditionally like to take humans on as like apprentices or anything. So,
I mean, they treat them as lesser beings.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. This guy could be an elf because we don't actually ever see.
No, just the appearance to me looks like
an
elf, but yeah, I don't know.
Confusing, very confusing. So this is definitely something that I can't wait to find out. This is not a
super. I don't think this is a super long portion of this episode too. So it leaves you like stumped, like,
and it's like in the beginning too.
Yeah, you're like, so the rest of the episode, off like that.
It's like, where's more? What happened?
Yeah, what's going on?
Why is that person holding a dish aimed at the side? Yeah. Yeah. So
you did a plate, bro.
Yeah. So that's the Harfoot side. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it just cuts off for that story.
Yeah, because that's it. That's all we see during this episode. All right. Let's talk about.
I think it goes to the dwarves, right?
Yeah.
Oh no. Is it, or is it the Arondir stuff first?
I don't know. It jumps all over the place during this episode.
Yeah, I forget.
So it's kind of hard to remember exactly what happens. Well, let's talk about this storyline now. We see the High King again, and they're having a meal with Durin and some other of the elves or whatever, and they're discussing their newfound friendship and partnership. Yeah. And Durin is being inquisitive, and the High King is also being inquisitive, and there's kind of a little tension, I would say, that they brew based off of the questions that they ask. And then Durin, this part was so funny. It's so funny because it's totally what I would expect from a dwarf. Like, totally. Durin, like,
because they're eating dinner on this super elegant looking stone table. And so Durin does this over exaggerated, like, do you know what this stone is? And he's like, it comes from such a depth that is so rare that we only reserve this for like ceremonious occasions, like our fallen, soldiers and stuff or whatever, fallen dead. And it's like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to insult you. That once you leave, you can take it with you. And he's like, thank you.
And then we see later on,
he's like, you were joking, weren't you? He's like, yeah, I was.
Decent just wanted a new table.
She's been asking for it too.
So funny to me, like that is.
Yeah, the chemistry
hilarious.
between Elrond and Durin is just so good.
They did so good.
Yeah. Even Gil-galad, like the king, he's super good too. I like the actor. Yeah. He's been doing a good job.
So the story development, though, that we find out is that I guess their tree of life is dying, which basically equates to that the elves' light is diminishing as well. And the king thinks that the only way to save it or save everybody is for them to harness Mithril and use that to save the elves. So Elrond didn't know this initially. He finally gets brought into the fold of knowledge with Celebrimbor and the High King, and basically they're asking him to use his influence with Durin to get Mithril for the elves. Yeah. And Elrond is very, very resistant to it because he'd made an oath to Durin, and Durin is his friend.
This is something I really liked.
I love this.
I was so scared.
Yeah.
What was going to happen because, he, Gil-galad explains to Elrond, like, look, our tree, is being like slowly infested or whatever. Yeah. Which means that we're gonna lose our everlasting light. Yeah. And so the only option is going back to this old story that they had of like this heroic elf that defended this tree, and a lightning struck it so hard that it shot through the earth, and that's what consider
created Mithril. Yeah.
So they need this, to keep their race essentially alive, at least in Middle Earth. Right.
They could
which
leave.
They don't want to leave because he explains, look, if we leave Middle Earth to the humans and everybody now, that's it.
The darkness
is going to take
win.
over.
Yeah.
And obviously he's not wrong.
He's not, obviously.
So with that in mind, like, I just didn't want Elrond to break his oath with Durin because I would have been so sad. It would have been
really sad, and it would have demeaned his whole character, and it would have demeaned not only just his character, but even like it would have retroactively lessened Elrond in the Lord of the Rings as well. So like, I'm super happy that he was able to resist
it in such a way. Like, he managed to. Well, he hasn't succeeded, but he's managed to continue on his, I guess, path in a way to not screw anybody over.
Yeah. He doesn't piss off the High King or anybody, but he also doesn't...
Because he doesn't want to, forsake his people, but he also doesn't want to break his friendship.
Right. So eventually he is walking Durin through the forest, and this is when we find out that he made up the story about the table. But then Durin can tell that he's obviously troubled, and they have a pretty funny little exchange. And Durin's line is so funny to me. He's like, all this beard, enough with the quail sauce, just give me the meat and give it to me raw. That was so funny.
And what I really loved was at the end when he's like, say that one more time. Whose hands? Yeah, so basically Elrond works his charm in a way that he explains to Durin, look, I didn't know it at the time, but I was sent on a mission to find Mithril. And so he does it in a way that Durin understands, and he's like, look, my people are going to die, or we think that this is our only chance to survive here. Yeah.
And otherwise, we're going to have to leave.
Which this, to me, because I love dwarves, boosts Durin as well as a character, as well as just being a dwarf in general. Of they're always like stubborn and like stuff, but like when things like really need to happen, like they always get it done. Yeah. And so he explains it to him, and he's like, at the end he does it, but he does it in such a.
It's so funny.
I don't know how you what word you would use to describe the way he does it?
Like, he just he agrees, but he does it in a way that like just accentuates a dwarf and elvish relationship.
Right, like he's very
He's like, oh, you need our help, huh?
like, oh, the elf coming to a dwarf for once. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he's like, oh, one more time?
Yeah, it's great.
And then
It's
he
so
says
good.
it. And he's like, whose hands, though?
Obviously, there's still one more step, though. I mean, he says,
So he's
hey,
like-
don't take me yet, because we still got to convince my father first.
Yeah, something like,
And
all
I
right,
think
let's go. We got a long ways to go until we get back.
there's two things that come out of this storyline for me, or two questions or just thoughts that I have. One, I don't think Durin's father is going to be as receptive as he was, and I think it's going to be part of like it's going to be part of the conflict that his father is
course.
not going to really want to do it. And then second thing, and this is a shot in the dark. I'm not convinced that this whole Mithril thing is real. I'm not convinced that the story, I mean, maybe the story is real that the High King told, or that, you know, they talk about.
Like it happened.
But I'm not convinced that the king's intentions are pure. The shot of after Elrond and Durin kind of like, you know, have their little moment and they start walking off, there's a shot of the High King like standing above them and like in the back, and he obviously heard them, but it doesn't look like the feeling that I got from that shot was not one of relief and, you know, excitement because Elrond was able to do it. It was more of like, my plan is working kind of thing. And I don't know, maybe I'm just completely wrong and I just am completely misreading it, but if it turned out that the High King was after Mithril for alternative motives, I would not be surprised at all.
It was just silly string on the tree.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like I don't know, maybe the tree is dying, but I don't know. It doesn't seem to me that the king is being 100% truthful about this.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And Celebrimbor's conversation with Elrond about it as well didn't really instill me with too much confidence either.
Yeah. This is actually the only thing I wanted to really talk about as far as like not really that negative, but I'm not a huge fan of Celebrimbor. I feel like he should be more involved. Well, I mean, I know he should be more involved, but like, I just want him to be more involved. And I'm honestly not big on the actor they picked for him. And I know I just have a skewed idea because of like other things.
Sure.
But we just don't get a whole lot from it, and the stuff that we do, it seems surface level.
Yeah, it doesn't seem too deep because we don't know anything about him. I mean, to the layperson, we don't really know that much about him because they don't show that much. They just kind of show these random conversations.
And I don't know if he's later on, maybe he's gonna get more screen time or whatever.
There's only 3 episodes left, dude, or 4 episodes.
Season, but
that's true. Yeah, I don't know. I do agree with you though that he seems a little underutilized.
But yeah, overall, I really like this. I'll still love this.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I love this storyline.
Yeah,
it's probably my favorite, but I'm not convinced by the king. I have a little worried that there's some ulterior motives going on here. So
we'll just see.
I thought it was interesting that as I was watching it, my wife she likened the relationship between Elrond and Durin to that of Legolas and Gimli. Yeah, I thought that was an interesting comparison that she made, and I didn't really.
That's kind of what it is.
Well, I didn't really think about it. That's why I never really thought about it that way. But yeah, I could definitely see.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of that's something I feel like is strange about this show that like gets like criticized a lot. Right?
Yeah,
but there's honestly so much in this show. Maybe it's because I've rewatched the entire, literally,
everything,
all of it recently again. Like, so I know exactly what happened in the old trilogies.
Yeah.
Both like the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit. Like the extended versions and everything.
Yeah.
Like I've seen it all. And there's so much in the show that like is actually like identical.
Right. And people are given those specific parts of it shit. Like the fact that Bronwyn and Arondir have some kind of, love interest. And it's like, y'all didn't care about Aragorn and Arwen having,
Right.
love. It's like, well,
I mean, I don't hear anybody hating about Oron and Durin, but
No, but
they did.
Yeah, it's
Like,
like,
Legolas and Gimli.
Yeah.
Like,
so, yeah, I really like this storyline, and I thought it was interesting when my wife mentioned that it was a cool comparison.
yeah, it's very similar.
Yeah. Oh man, I hope I just am wrong, and that unless like something that I don't.
Well, I mean, I know what happens like way later, but
Okay. All right. Well, we can move on from this storyline because that's pretty much all that we see from them.
We'll do a Rondir and a Bronwyn.
And then we'll talk about this storyline. This was probably the most disappointing, but yet like it was a mix for this one. This is definitely the lowest storyline of this episode because Theo, what the hell, dude? Like, can we just?
It's not even just Theo. His shittiness has spread throughout his people.
Yeah. No,
I'm not gonna lie. I don't like the mom anymore.
Yeah,
she's kind of.
And even Arondir was kind of a little
even
off
Arondir
this episode too.
He's not as cool as he usually is.
Yeah. He wasn't as level-headed. Like the thing that I liked about him the most was that he was super level-headed about everything. In this episode, he just seemed like he was super amped and super like on edge about everything.
Yeah.
Obviously. So in the beginning of this storyline, Arondir comes back. They announce to the people that Adar has said either die or pledge fealty. So half of the people leave under the leadership.
A crazy dude.
Yeah, the leadership of the old crazy dude that we see from last episode. And they go off and find Adar. And this scene, or this particular aspect of the storyline, I thought was pretty interesting. And I'm going to save it, though. I want to talk about the rest of it first because I have some thoughts about that part as well. But we see Bronwyn and Arondir kind of struggling with the thought of like, how are they going to make this work? How are they going to survive after? I mean, even with the half of the people that left, it still was a daunting.
It's still a shot in the dark.
Yeah, it's still a miracle if they would have potentially survived. So now that they're even at less strength, less resources, they're Bronwyn's kind of giving up. Seems like she's kind of like, oh, you know what? Screw it. We're just gonna join them. And
well, that's actually wasn't because of that she decided that. It was after Arondir did his thing.
Yeah. Well, so Arondir and Theo have this moment in this conversation while Theo is trying to shoot a bow, and Arondir's trying to be a good stepdad and give him some pointers. He's like, hey, hey, lift your aim, and he's talking to him, and then Theo does his typical angst teenager dumb stuff that like it's just so unbelievable to me.
Not a phase, Dad.
We're all gonna die anyway. So I cannot handle Theo. It's too much.
No, I hate
It's
him
too
so
much. There's no character.
I don't think I've heard anybody say they like Theo.
There's no like character development or
that's probably intentional
arc or deviation or anything at all. It's just he's the same about everything, and it's
at least for now.
Yeah, but man, I don't know. If anything, I expect him to betray everybody. Like that's what I expect.
I expect all these people to betray.
Yeah. So
they're the Southland people, man.
Theo, after they have their little nice moment, Theo tells Arondir about.
What? You're not so bad.
Yeah, let me tell you about the secret. Daddy.
I'll call you Dad even if there's a fight. Yeah, he pulls out the sword and he's like, "Hey, look, this is pretty cool. I found this. Check it out." Yeah. And he's like, "Wait a minute.
Hold on, I've seen this before." And then apparently there's this like...
Apparently, coincidentally, right there at the tower.
There's like a mural of it.
Well, it's like a sculpture.
Sure, sculpture. And it's like, what?
It's like, what a coincidence. I've seen this.
Why
Not
is
only
that
have
there?
I seen this, it's right there.
Yeah, why is that there in the first place? Like, come on. No.
I mean, I don't know the significance of it, so...
No, but I mean, like, isn't that supposed to be an elven watchtower?
Yeah.
Why is it there?
I don't know. Maybe it was like a... Well, because, like, you know, elves live so long that they typically have records of, like, stuff, so maybe it's just like a...
So they decided to make a record, a sculpture of the, like, biggest evil thing to come out of
maybe it's
Southlands.
a reminder that these people are bad.
Maybe. I don't know. It's too much of a coincidence for me.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely a coincidence.
It's like, come on.
But
could have, like, at least, like, made it, like, up in the mountains or something. And they
but then they would have to leave the tower, travel to the mountains, and, like, the orcs are coming. Like, they're going to be there in, like, hours. Like, you have no time to do that. It is a coincidence, but, like...
I guess.
It's just...
Whatever.
So
apparently they think it's a key that... and to me, it sounds like exactly what I was predicting it to be in the last episode. It gives you some kind of, like, powers or whatever that makes you better than a mortal human or whatever.
Yeah.
But it also enslaves you to the forces of evil. So... and it's clearly the thing that Adar is after in order to complete his plan.
Well, yeah, I mean, they said that before, that they're looking for the sword.
And now he
knows it's here in this tower.
Yeah, and they're ready to assault the tower. Like, he calls up the legions.
Into the distance, and because it's like nighttime, and you can just see, like, it looks like the Ho Chi Minh Trail, like, just torches, like, all converging to the tower.
Yeah, it's all orcs.
Yeah.
So... obviously, our battle is coming soon, or a battle at least, because, all right, so let's diverge into the sub-storyline of this storyline that I wanted to save. So there's half of the people decide that they want to join the dark side, right? So they go down to the orc camp or whatever, and they tell them, oh, we're here to pledge our fealty, you know?
Yeah.
And the old dude sees Adar, and he does this little speech of like, oh, we were always with you, we're still with you, Sauron.
Yeah.
And maybe it was just me again, reading into it too much, but it seemed to me like Adar took offense to being called Sauron. And he chokeslammed the dude for it.
He does.
So, the way I take that is... yes, this guy is evil. He has evil plans. But because he took offense to be called Sauron, maybe he's not necessarily aligned with Sauron. You know, like, I don't know how that would work. But
think of it like
like, I'm kind of thinking of it like Saruman and Sauron kind of thing. Like,
think of it like Sith Lords.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's
they're
better.
two different Sith Lords.
Right. They serve the same goal, but they don't
one
usually
wants to be the number one.
Yeah, they usually don't like each other. Most Sith Lords don't like each other.
There can only be one. Well, two.
Yeah. So is that what you got from that encounter? Is that how you felt during that, or
yeah?
is that just
I feel like that was the general impression they were trying to give.
Okay. All right. So to me, that means that something bigger and badder is coming, right? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff coming.
Okay. Well, I don't know. There's only 4 episodes left, so.
Yeah. Again, just for the one season.
Yeah. So that's how I felt during that. Looks like Adar is offended by being called Sauron, and I don't know if he's like fully aligned with Sauron or whatever, and you know, maybe he's kind of like a rogue Sith Lord or something.
Yeah, I think he just wants he has his own like
motives and goals.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's
But I
clear
like it
that
a lot. The moment and he's like, after he has this little like moment,
yeah,
and he's like, binds can
you
only be made
by
in blood. Which I really like this moment because it's the same thing that happens in the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
This is this not exact. It's very similar. The only difference is they don't show it in this. Is the Southlanders in the Lord of the Rings pledge to Sauron,
Right.
and he's like, "I will serve."
Yeah.
And he kind of is supposed to hint that in this show when he like holds the kid down and he's like throws him a knife. And
Yeah,
he's basically like, kill him.
Do
Do
it.
it.
Essentially.
And they don't show it, unfortunately. But you get the same vibe. Well, because you don't really know what happens. Like,
Right. He could have
like did something completely different. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was funny because it's like, you are Sauron, aren't you?
Yeah.
Whoever you are, I'll serve you. It's just being stupid.
Typical rats just trying to survive.
Yeah, it's like somebody going up to Kylo Ren, like, you're Darth Vader, right?
Oh my gosh.
It's like, what did you say?
What? What did you say?
Yeah. Hold on, let me take off my helmet. Say it again.
Rage. Rage.
I do love that stuff, though.
Yeah.
But I love making fun of it.
At the end of the storyline, though, it's clear that the orcs are going to attack very soon.
It's like it's about to go down.
It seems like the general idea of their survival is going to be dependent upon the tower falling, literally falling.
Because the way they make a shot of like
tower fall, or this tower's going to fall, and they both are like,
"Oh, the tower's gonna fall.
Tower fall? Oh. So I mean, it's not like it's a freaking one of the two towers that's huge and could wipe out an entire valley.
But it could stop the what's it called, like the path?
Maybe, yeah.
Might give them time
to get away for Numenor to get there or something.
Yeah, something.
I don't know. We'll see. This was kind of one of the lesser storylines for this one, in my opinion. Wasn't super stoked on it. But yeah, let's dive into the last storyline. We have the storyline of Numenor, right? And what I have very similar mixed thoughts about this storyline as I do in the last one we talked about. And I'll start with the good first.
I'd say this one's overall better though.
It is for sure, but there's still
it's very jumpy.
There's something specific that I'll talk about at the end that I just didn't really care for. But the episode starts off essentially with two of the boats being blown up by Farazan's son, right?
Yeah.
Because he thinks that they shouldn't be going to war; they should be, protecting Numenor, or whatever. And Farazan says no, like let's go over there, dominate, open up trade route, make Numenor better. And then the son takes it upon himself to try and go and blow up the boats, which gets foiled by the fact that Isildur is planning on being a stowaway.
Dude, Isildur,
such
a loser.
So this is one aspect of it that I wanted to talk about that I actually like. I like this because Isildur was painted as this, like, in the original trilogy, Isildur was painted as this like hero person that turned not evil but just succumbed to the power of the ring, right? And then like now we're seeing Isildur and we're seeing him struggle to get to that point. Like things aren't going his way. And I actually like that because to me, again, it deepens the character to that he just didn't have everything handed to him all of his life, and he didn't have just a easy life.
Well, he did have everything handed to
him. But he's had
he just didn't use it.
Yeah, he's had to deal with a lot of things, and he's done a lot of things that have come or ended poorly for him and for the people around him. But now
he's just a loss. So.
Yeah, essentially. And now we're kind of seeing him take some direction, right? With the fact that they're headed to Middle Earth and he wants to be part of it. And all this stuff. So
right, he's following his like, this whole time he's been having these like thoughts and like when he was on the boat and he like hears the voices in like west or whatever, and then he's like, oh what, and then he's like, oh that's my destiny. Yeah. So basically he's just following along his path.
Which I like it, and I like pretty much the rest of the storyline. We get some more conversation between Galadriel and Halbrand that deepens that relationship as well, although we get more of Galadriel stern face, and I would have just liked
Kristen
a little
Stewart's
bit of
still kind of the same.
Yeah, that is one poor aspect. Like, you're supposed to be having this like heartfelt moment with Halbrand, and you guys are talking about your past and having this breakthrough, yet the whole time you look like you're just angry at the world.
Yeah,
it's like, just soften up a little bit. Like
Twilight.
Yeah. It's like, come on. So she eventually convinces him to take his rightful place, or at least attempt to.
One big issue I had with this section is it just cuts. Yeah. So there's a moment where they have their conversation, and then they shoot it, and he's like, oh, somebody comes up, some guard comes up, he's like, oh, the Queen Regent has summoned you. Yeah. He's like, okay, and so he takes his little heirloom thing and just throws it on the table, and then he just stays focused on that shot, and then he goes off, and then he runs back and he grabs it and he runs away.
Yeah.
And then it just cuts to parade.
Right, and
it skips out the whole
meeting of the council to determine on whether or not they are still going to go to Middle Earth with only 3 boats instead of 4 or 5 boats,
and that he's willing to go along with it,
because the Queen said that if he's not going to go, we're not going.
Right.
Plus, the Queen had a conversation with her father where her father was like, "Don't go, dude is crazy," but still, he was kind of.
I think he's just afraid to lose his daughter.
Yeah, or maybe he just knows something that we don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. But I do agree with you that I would have liked to find out why he changed his mind. Like, was it Galadriel's conversation with him?
I mean, the only reason I feel that way is because they focus so much on the fact that he was rejecting it.
Yeah,
that you kind of need to finish that.
Yeah, finish it out. Let us know why he chose, and maybe they'll talk about it later on. Maybe they'll have a moment on the boat or something, and they'll talk about it. Yeah,
but I mean, it still doesn't excuse the act of jumping immediately to, hooray, we're leaving, like, and they're all like, getting paraded around the city, going to the boats and stuff. Right. Like, and it's like, oh, I guess it's fine.
Yeah, I do agree with that for sure. And then, to sum up this storyline, first off, one thing.
Did you like
their armor? This armor right here?
Hold on. Wait. We'll get into that.
Okay.
What did you think about the sword scene?
Oh, I actually meant to get a picture of that. But basically, there's a scene where Galadriel shows her weapon prowess, and I thought it was all right. I mean,
I thought it was a good idea, but they portrayed it not.
Yeah, it was kind of.
It was shot, again, too slow, in my opinion. Like, if you're gonna show me an elf showing off skills, which you did, but make it faster.
Give me the elf showing her skills.
You should be over exaggerated, like super speed.
Give me the type of combat that we saw with the cave troll in the beginning of the season.
Yeah,
that's what I want.
It was just too slow. Like, too basic. Like, it was good idea. It's just the way they portrayed it wasn't very good. Wasn't the hugest fan of, like, I guess I would be stoked about it too when Elendil's like, first one who hits her gets promoted to a lieutenant. Hell yeah, I'll try it.
Yeah.
But it's the friend that gets it, and he gets the promotion.
Yeah.
Which ends up being having a funny
right, because then
conversation later comes up to him and is like, please let me on the ship. And I do like the dynamic between the friends.
It's so funny, dude.
Especially with Ontamo. Bro, I'm so sorry, but you're that friend that just gets shit on.
That's so funny.
Because you can take it. Because he's like, Isildur,
you're still my best friend.
After he gives him like 2 free punches or whatever, he's
you're
like,
still probably my best friend.
It's like, yeah, it's hard to believe, but yeah, you're probably still my bestest friend. But like, and he's like, what? Sorry, bro. Even though you give me the hardest, like, or the most trouble. And I was like, oh, that sounds realistic.
So funny.
Yeah. But yeah, they're just, goofing around and stuff.
Yeah.
He does end up getting on the boat. Gets a job.
Obviously because of his father.
Yeah.
And it's because when the 2 boats are exploded or tried to be tampered with and he was the stowaway, he actually tried to stop Farazan's son from doing it, and then he ended up saving his life because they were trying to escape the burning boat. Farazan's son got hit in the head, fell down, and he got him off. And then he covered for him.
But yeah, he also covered for him.
Yeah. So, and his father, I don't know if he could recognize that he was covering for him, but his father, at least saw that he made a heroic effort and decided, all right, I'll give you the post on the boat.
I think that's the reason he couldn't tell is why he gave him the thing. He just assumed that he was saving him, because I imagine if he had known, he wouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Because if he had learned that he was trying to be a stowaway, then he wouldn't be okay with that. So that's like, I hated that Isildur did it, but at the same time, like, it makes sense.
It does, yeah. All right.
Okay, now we can get into his arm because I have a big issue with this.
Okay. So obviously Gladio's armor is the same, but
Hers looks great.
I don't understand where the hell she got it from.
Yeah,
because she lost her armor. She never had her armor when she was on the boat going to the Valar, and then from there she's been in Numenor. So like, did they just have elven armor laying around or something?
Isn't this different?
Is it different from her armor in the beginning?
I think it is. It's more. I feel like it's more.
Maybe
fancy and elegant.
I do like it. I do think it looks really nice.
Good. Looks better than the Numenorians.
Yeah. And then let's talk about the Numenorian armor. 95% of the armor is bleh to me, except for the helmet with the red wings. That shit's dope.
So
that shit's dope.
You literally messed, like I'm saying to you, the creators, you messed this up entirely except for that helmet.
Yeah.
But even that helmet, like, that's the closest thing you had gotten to actually being like, I guess Numenorian-esque. The rest of this, what is this?
Yeah,
this is like scuffed Rohan.
Yeah,
stop this now. Like, I love Rohan, but that's Rohan. Yeah. This is not Rohan. Give me Numenor. This should be essentially a mix of like Gondor and elves, because that's what they are. They're like the in between humans of like the high status whatever. Yeah. So they're disgusting looking. Yeah, everything. I don't mind the color, but it just looks ugly.
I'm just it's just indifferent. Like, I'm just like, all right, well, I mean, that's not what I was hoping for, but whatever, I guess. But I do really like the
whatever,
helmet.
But it's, to me, it's just so irritating.
The helmet's dope though. The helmet's pretty sick.
Only the one.
Yeah, the one with the red wings.
Because again, that's like very similar to how it was in the Minas Tirith guards, Citadel guards. It was very similar, which is badass, and that's how it should be. But like, everything below that is just horrendous. Yeah, but all the standard soldier armor, the helmets, disgusting. And that's it. That's all I got. Oh, that, and we see them finally departing. Which they do have some pretty cool looking ships too.
Yeah. So all right. So last thing before we wrap this up, okay. We're just gonna talk about. I just want to talk about the fact that the last episode and this episode is basically the same. At the end of the last episode, everybody's like, "Yeah, we're going to Middle Earth."
Right. Like,
we're going to Middle Earth. Like, yeah, let's go. And then the end of this episode is, "Yeah, we're going to Middle Earth. Let's go."
Yeah, it's like,
it's just like,
why did it take you so long to do that?
It took you a whole episode to go from let's go to Middle Earth to let's go to Middle Earth. Like, what?
It's because of that stupid moment of the arguing when they're like, "Oh, we shouldn't do this."
Yeah.
Oh, we'll wait one night to do this. We're still going, bro. It's like
that was one thing that literally after the episode ended, I was like, I feel like this particular storyline like didn't progress anywhere.
Yeah, well,
it
did, but it like repeated
yeah,
itself.
It like retracted and then progressed.
Yeah, it's like, oh, just kidding. No, no,
Gotcha. You thought.
Yeah, I do want to say too, Halbrand looks badass, bro.
His armor's sick.
Your armor, I mean, I know it's very similar, but it just matches you.
Yeah, because he's a Southlander.
Yeah, it looks like it's supposed to be on you. This does not match them.
I agree.
Like, this matches her. His armor matched him. Yeah. This does not match Numenorians.
I agree.
The sea apparently is not always right when it comes to this armor.
All right. Thank you guys for being here. Let us know what you guys thought of episode 5. A lot to be excited about, but there's still, some things that could have been improved or could be better. I'm still standing by my argument of the fact that this show is not as bad as a lot of people are making it out to be.
Yeah,
and the people that are crying and whining about this show and making all this muck, like, you guys got to stop expecting this to be a perfect rendition of the Silmarillion or whatever.
Well, there's no such thing because it's not even a finished thing.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, stop expecting it to be a pure rendition of that. Take it for what it is. Enjoy it for the good things that it does. We can talk about the bad things that it does.
Oh, yeah,
but, like,
for sure.
Stop giving it so much hate because majority of the show is pretty damn good, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah,
so
I like it.
Amazon, Rings of Power, keep on keeping on. I'm looking forward to the next 4 episodes.
Haters be hating.
And just so you guys know, we are doing an episode by episode breakdown, but I will be out of town again next weekend, so we're going to be doing a 2-episode review the following week. So we're going to miss a week, unfortunately. But thank you guys for being here. We appreciate you. Please like, subscribe, comment, share with a friend. Check out our social media. You can find us at AnyKindCast on Instagram and Twitter. And we'll catch you guys in the next episode.
Bye, guys.